The 2025 NFL Draft is a day away. We're going to be looking at Daniel Jeremiah's top 150. It's always a fantastic big board to check out prior to the NFL Draft, or I guess a working big board. It's not really a big board the way you'd see in like an NFL Draft room, but these players are ranked in order. Top 150 we'll be going over today. I'm still moving into my new place, so I'm going to get these off the wall. The background's going to look different, but I am going to be live on YouTube and maybe Twitch tomorrow night for the NFL Draft, going live at 7 Eastern right here. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're hanging out for the NFL Draft. Live reactions and analysis should be a fantastic time with a lot of surprises and a lot of unknowns. I feel like after the first 5 or 10 picks, the rest of the draft could be absolute chaos with shock name after shock name getting inside the first round, because there's not a tremendous difference from maybe the 10th or 15th best player compared to the 50th or 60th best player, which sounds completely unusual, but this is an unusual draft. Let's check out Daniel Jeremiah's top 150, which will be linked below. My final mock draft will be out either tonight or tomorrow morning. It will be finalized tonight and maybe uploaded tonight or tomorrow. Could be a double upload today, but super excited for the draft live stream, and let's just jump into it. Travis Hunter is at number 1. Not really a surprise here. I would say that we don't really have to spend a tremendous amount of time on these first several because there's not really going to be many surprises. I haven't seen this, but it probably looks something like Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Ashton Genty to start off, and then you're going to see Tyler Warren, I imagine, pretty close to that top 5. You're going to see Colston Loveland probably inside that top 10. I could see Mason Graham near that top 5 or 10 range. I think Will Johnson could be in a similar spot, although I know Daniel Jeremiah is a little bit lower on him. Let's see. Abdul Carter is at number 2. He's probably going to be a Giant tomorrow night, which I am excited about. I would prefer Travis Hunter. I just don't think he's going to end up being available. But you'll see what I think is going to happen in my final mock draft. Again, either tomorrow night, or excuse me, tomorrow morning or tonight. Should be a ton of fun. Ashton Genty is at number 3. He's a tremendous player. It's not really a surprise. And what I would say is there are 3 true blue chip players in this draft. It's Hunter, Carter, and Genty, maybe in that order. It is not weird at all to see it so far. Mason Graham is at 4. This video is brought to you by Underdog. I think it's the absolute best place to play daily fantasy sports. I very much enjoy their pick'em mode. I think we're even going to get some pick'ems for the NFL Draft. Use code BENGAL on Underdog. They've got new specials running all the time. This is the new customer special for today, the 23rd. But if you're a new customer, you're going to get a different one tomorrow when you use code BENGAL. Follow that link down in the description. This is Steph Curry higher, 0.5 points. If he scores a point, it is an absolutely free pick, so pair this with one of your favorite selections, and you are eligible to play if you live in pretty much any of these states in the continental or non-continental United States. The only states that you can't play are in gray. It is so many different states in the Midwest. You can play Pick'em champions throughout the Central and East Coast here. No New York or Pennsylvania, but New Jersey. You have Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia in some capacity, right? Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming. If I said any of your states just there, you are absolutely eligible to play either Classic or Pick'em Champions on Underdog using code BENGAL. Again, I think we are going to get NFL Draft picks here, and I'll tweet those out tomorrow. Twitter.com/Bengal, YouTube link down below as well. Thank you to Underdog for sponsoring this video. Please play responsibly. This stuff can get dangerous if you don't play responsibly, so don't chase your losses. Make responsible picks. Do it for fun, and that's about it. There are maybe some length concerns in the trenches. Obviously, it is a leverage game, so I'm not really too worried about smaller arms for the interior defensive line. I just worry about maybe the way he wins as a pass rusher. But overall, I think you can make a really good argument he's a top 10 player. And I think you can say the same for Jalen Walker, right? And he's still growing into being that full-time edge player like we expect him to be in the NFL. But the way he wins in the NFL is going to need to be different than the way he won off the edge in college. You can't just bulldoze these guys at 6'2", 245 pounds, the way Jalen Walker's probably going to end up playing at that height and weight. So, especially, I would say, certainly height, but we'll see what his playing weight ends up being. This is your prototypical 3-4 outside linebacker with a little bit of versatility, but his best role in the NFL, most valuable role, will be off the edge. And I think it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I kind of think it's going to be Carolina, but could you see Jacksonville? Could you see Las Vegas maybe? Could you see the Jets? Could be interesting. Tyler Warren is at 6, and Colston Loveland is right there with him. I told you these two tight ends are going to be very, very highly thought of, and I think highly sought after as well. Could see Tyler Warren go in the top 10, clearly. Could see Loveland go in the top 15. And, okay, let me throw an idea out there. Let's say Tyler Warren is gone at 7, right? That means maybe the Jags at 5, maybe the Jets at 7. But let's just say he's off the board one way or another. Could Colston Loveland end up being a top 10 pick? I don't think it's impossible. The Saints are a team that would make some sense. I think the Bears are also a team that would make some sense. I know they have Cole Kmet. I think an expiring contract pretty soon though, right? And Loveland is a different type of tight end compared to Cole Kmet. If you're looking for just another receiver to add to that offense, which I think you would be, is Loveland not a decent fit for Chicago if Genty's off the board? If they don't want to go offensive or defensive line, which I know that crosses off a lot of guys, but Loveland could absolutely be a top 10 pick, I think. And could be gone by 14 to Indianapolis. Could be still a Bronco at 20. Loveland, to me, you got the biggest question marks about where he could go in this draft. There is a huge range, but it's a very talented tight end class. And guys like Daniel Jeremiah saying that, hey, maybe Mason Taylor, the tight end from LSU, that could even sneak into the first round. That, to me, says that he expects Colston Loveland to be way gone by the end of the first round. Cam Ward at number 8, top quarterback in this draft class, at least in terms of both floor and ceiling. I question whether or not Ward will end up reaching his potential. I think he's got a pretty low floor, to be honest. And I think I'm not a Cam Ward hater. I just recognize that, I've said it before and I got pushback on this, and then it was backed up by an NFL executive via a report recently that Ward might be the 7th best quarterback or 7th quarterback taken if he was drafted last year in this, but with this same talent, right? So he's in that tier of Bo Nix, Michael Penix last year. I don't think Cam Ward was that close to where Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams was as a prospect. I think he's one of the weaker number 1 overall picks that we've seen, and I think he will be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I like him as a player. I liked him, going to Washington State from what I could see at Incarnate Word. I liked him at Washington State. He was like a fun, under-the-radar guy. That's no longer the case. This is going to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. And just in terms of number 1 overall picks, I just don't think he is as special as some of the players we've seen, but he does play the most valuable position, which means a guy like that can shoot up the board. He's a really good player that has shown unbelievable flashes. Like, it would not shock me at all if Cam Ward ends up being a superstar. It wouldn't be surprising. But I also see a world, and you can say this with any quarterback, right? Because it's such a hard position to draft and develop, but it wouldn't shock me if he was being replaced here in a few years. I hope that's not the case. I'm rooting for everybody, right? But there is a world where without proper development, things don't go well for Cam Ward, unfortunately. There's a lot of volatility there. I think he could be a superstar. I hope that a team that drafts him, Tennessee Titans, we'd assume, is able to develop him. Armand Membu, up inside the top 10. Probably will be a top 10 pick. I do agree that Armand Membu is a better tackle prospect than Will Campbell. I think the arm length plays into it, but it's not like Will Campbell always dominated. Like, if you watch him, there are times where he is just defeated by speed off the edge. There are times where he's allowing pressures that guys like Armand Membu are not allowing against the same types of players, or same exact players playing the SEC. So I don't know. I feel like the name for Will Campbell's carrying a little bit, doing a lot of the work because he was so good immediately at LSU. And he is a really good player. it's hard for me to believe that he's going to end up being a top 4 pick this year when, we've got some good players behind him, but I guess there is a fall off after the blue chip players. If you need offensive line that badly and you think Will Campbell can play left tackle, I do get it. He's a good player. Like, I'm not trying to be negative. It seems like I'm being negative probably after talking about Campbell and Barron and Ward. I'm just kind of pointing out some of the negative things that could hold these guys back. But they're obviously, they're ranked number 11, number 10, number 9, wherever for a reason. They are very good. As is Jahad Campbell, who is one of my favorite players in this draft. He's down 3 to number 12. As for his health, this is apparently the big thing for Campbell. Campbell underwent left shoulder surgery this spring after the combine, and teams are a little bit divided on how that will impact his draft position. Overall, Campbell expands the playbook for defensive coordinators, and his best football is ahead of him. He's got the versatility to be an inside-outside type of linebacker. He can win off the edge. He's very good in coverage for his size, and he has unbelievable athleticism to be a sideline player, to be a chase player. He's really, really good. I saw recently somebody in my comments is like, he can't play in coverage. It's like, I don't think you've watched him because it's a strength. It's a real strength. He's an awesome player. Amarion Hampton at number 13, but does play this position, running back. So where does he ultimately end up going? Seems like at 20 to Denver is going to be a probable landing spot for him. But yeah, one of the better players in this draft. As we get another Longhorn, Matthew Golden up to number 14. Hook him. Overall, Golden doesn't have dynamic traits, even though he tested great. Who knows how real that 4.29 40 was. But he's a natural football player and a quarterback's best friend. He's dependable. Yeah, very good route runner. Doesn't really drop the football. If you watch him at Texas, it really was not a problem for him. The amount of plays that this guy would make is unbelievable. It was a big reason why Texas was able to make this college football playoff run that they were able to. Nick Emanwari at 15. Overall, Emanwari will be a difference maker provided the team that drafts him deploys him close to the action. So in the box, in the slot, overhang role. Emanwari is a stud. But I honestly, I do think he's a player that can play strong safety in a deep half. I know DJ says he's not as effective, but I think it's something he can grow into. He's a really good athlete. He's got great ball skills. I think with more time and experience, the instincts as a cover player will grow in zone. In man, I think he's very, very good. So I get why you'd say, okay, nickel or overhang or play him in the box, have him like take away tight ends, whatever you want to do. But I think he's someone that can play a strong safety in a 2 high. Will Johnson down to 16. Big cornerback with easy fluid movement skills and excellent instincts. Totally agree. However, he has short arms, which is a concern about, can this guy play press man? And you can see down here, he did not alleviate any concerns about his speed by declining to run a 40-yard dash at the combine in his workout this spring. Overall, Johnson won't be a fit for man-heavy teams, but he will be attractive for squads that play a lot of zone coverage. You're trying to think about a Richard Sherman-type role for Will Johnson at this point, and I don't know if he's got the size and the length. He's got 9th percentile arm length, which is a problem in press. It's going to be against NFL wide receivers. And you have the injury concerns as well with Will Johnson. There are some that think he's not even going to end up being a first-round pick. I think that's blowing things out of proportion a bit. Would it really be that surprising if he ends up being a top 10 pick to the right team? Not really. But I also don't think it's insane to think that he could fall out of the top 20. There's a lot of variance on Will Johnson as well, as Tyler Booker is going to jump up 3 spots back up to number 17. He is a power run blocker. I mean, he's not going to be a great fit in a zone run scheme, in my opinion, but dude, if you can just get him working downhill, use that power, you're going to have a good player. Booker alleviated some concerns about his athleticism by posting a much better 10-yard split at his pro day than he did at the NFL scouting combine. Still a perfect fit for a gap scheme team with a power run game. Emeka Ibuka down 1 to 18. Overall, yeah, slot receiver. In the mold of Jackson Smith and Jigba makes sense to me. I don't think he's quite that same level of player, but it's surprising to see Ibuka listed above Teteroa McMillan, who I still think is probably the best receiver in this draft. In terms of finding an X receiver that can also move around the field, play the Z, play the slot, really big catch radius, can be a real chain mover and threat in the red zone, but also somebody that's a threat after the catch. It's hard for me to think that Tetaroa McMillan is not going to end up being a high draft pick. I know that DJ in the past has had him dropping, out of the top 15, maybe even out of the top 20. I think McMillan could absolutely end up going inside the top 10 or 12. I would be surprised if he fell beyond the Cowboys. I'll say that. Shedeur Sanders down 1 to 20. Overall, Sanders doesn't have elite size, arm strength, or athleticism, which is not the worst thing at quarterback. It's more of a mental game. It's more about timing, anticipation, ball placement. And I think Shedeur Sanders has those cards in his deck. And we'll see if he goes to the right team, right system. It seems like Pittsburgh is going to end up being a likely landing spot. If Sanders falls out of the top 10, could see a team move back up for him. Maybe he falls to the Steelers at 21. I think that's a possibility. And getting him with Arthur Smith, I don't think is the worst thing. He's a good offensive coordinator, if not a good head coach. And there are weapons now in Pittsburgh where Shedeur Sanders could be effective throwing the ball up to George Pickens and DK Metcalf. 21, we have Mike Green. Overall, Green is a very gifted pass rusher and more than holds his own against the run. Yeah, shorter arms, but again, it's a leverage game in the trenches. Green plays really aggressively. He's really strong at the point of attack and can really get after the QB. Now, Mykel Williams is going to be a really interesting one to watch. A player that I think could sneak into the top 10. He played injured really the entire year, but yeah, rare physical traits. These are what teams value, especially in the trenches. He's a high effort guy, team leader, high work ethic. Overall, the 2024 tape isn't a fair representation of Williams' talent. Teams are going to bank on the talent. I really feel like they will. He has game-changing tools when healthy and locked in. Shamar Stewart up 4. You see the run of edge rushers here that DJ has grouped, valuing or seeing them all very similarly in terms of true talent in this draft. Stewart, long, dynamic, and athletic edge rusher. I know that the production is not there, but I'm telling you, when you flip on the tape and watch Shamar Stewart, the juice off the edge at his size is unbelievable. I think continue to develop him. He's not a finished product, understand that, but you could have a special type of player because sometimes a player just moves different. You see him off the edge, and Stewart just is a lightning bolt. He's a flash. It's unreal that someone his size could move the way he does. And I think to really, boil it down, like that plays. Sometimes it's just a guy who moves differently. And I think Stewart is one of those guys. You need to continue to develop him as a pass rusher, no question. Against the run, he can easily set the edge, and he has the speed. And that was what he was mostly asked to do, not get after the QB. But anyway, he has the speed to chase and make plays on the backside. I'm sure some will struggle to see past the limited sack total, but there's too much talent here to fall into that trap. Harmon down 1 to 24. Apparently some injury stuff with him as well, which we'll see how much that impacts his draft position, but overall, Harmon is a great feel for the game and can create a lot of havoc despite lacking an elite trait. But, the pressures were so good for him. Led all of FBS interior defensive linemen. I really like Harmon as a player. It's a strong D-line class. He's really in the conversation to be one of the first 2 or 3 off the board. Malachi Starks up 4 to 25. He's played so many different roles for Georgia. I think in the NFL, he's a true free safety. Overall, Starks didn't make as many plays this past season as he did in 2023. And saying the entire year. You can't let that, stop you from seeing what he really could be in the future. Guys have up and down years sometimes. He was asked to wear a lot of different hats, but again, another huge team leader type guy, high character. Overall, Starks didn't make as many plays this past season, but he has the versatility to move around the field and provide a lot of value. Gray Zabel down 2 to 26. He's going to end up being a guard or a center overall. He's aced every test this offseason, Senior Bowl of the Combine. Sees Zabel as a day 1 starter at guard. He's not going to be a tackle. I know PFF lists him as a tackle. He's not. Kelvin Banks up 4 to 27. So this is another high character guy that has pretty solid tape at Texas over the past few years and may end up going as high as the top 10. We'll see if that ends up happening, but he's one of the better true left tackles in this class. Overall, Banks has some things to clean up, but I like his core foundation of strength and agility. Walter Nolan, 28. This is a tough one because he could be listed a lot higher than this. He could be really a top 10 player in this class. He's a twitchy defensive tackle who fits best in a penetrating style of defense. Ole Miss landed him quite often in its defensive scheme, and he created some early wins versus run and pass. So overall, Nolan is extremely talented and disruptive, but he hasn't come close to reaching his potential. If he lands with the right scheme and coach, he can emerge as one of the better players in this draft class. Absolutely agree. Mason Taylor up 3 to 29. Big athletic tight end with excellent quickness, hands, and toughness. Overall, Taylor has the ability to be a day one starter with high value production. I think he does everything pretty well. He's got true NFL size at tight end. He is, I think, a really reliable type of option, and I don't think he's going to end up being a first-round pick, but I think it might be similar to a Sam Laporta type situation where he goes at the top of the second round and, yeah, could be an instant starter and a do-it-all type of tight end. Donovan Ezeraku down 5 to 30. Compact edge rusher with outstanding length. He's got arms that are longer than 34 inches, which is crazy. I mean, that's longer than Will Campbell, significantly longer than Kelvin Banks, Armand Membu, Josh Simmons, and he's only like 6'2". But crazy productive, 16.5 sacks in 2024. Overall, Ezeraku is an ideal body type to rush the passer, and he's all the tricks in his bag to win against good players. I just worry about the overall athleticism. Like, his quickness is outstanding. The agility testing was really good. Is the burst actually there? Is the closing speed there? Those are going to be some of the questions about Ezeraku, but is certainly a good prospect, and I think should be a first-round pick. Kenneth Grant down 1 to 31. Overall, there's some assembly required, but his physical tools are very loud and worth the investment. Trevion Henderson, really good blocking back, really good receiving back, big-time speed. Can he stay healthy? Can he, survive an NFL lead back workload? That's the question. But overall, big play waiting to happen, willing blocker. He's got 3 down potential if he can stay healthy. James Pierce Jr. down 7 to 33, long, lean edge rusher. He sets a firm edge, especially against tight ends, and that's at like 245 pounds. Overall, Pierce has double-digit sack potential and should make an immediate impact in the league. But there are supposed character concerns, work ethic, attitude. I can't confirm any of that. It's just what I'm hearing, right? And that may be a reason why he falls. I know DJ, with his big board, tries to make it kind of like how these guys are going to be drafted. He likes getting the guys that should be first-round picks in his top 32, right? Historically. Like, you'll see tweets that come out where it's like, oh, of the players drafted in the first 100, DJ had like 80 of them in his top 100. So maybe James Pierce not going to be a first-round pick despite having more than enough first-round talent, in my opinion. I would have him higher than this. And I would say the same about Luther Burden, who we'll get to in a minute. Harrison, incredible athlete, and I think sticky in man coverage. I really like Harrison as a prospect. Wouldn't shock me to see him get into the first round. Overall, Harrison offers an enticing blend of movement skills and production. Shoulder injury might impact his overall draft spot. Luther Burden, quick, athletic slot receiver, but I think he can play the Z as well. He's so good after the catch, and his movement skills lead me to believe he's going to be a better route runner long-term as he, continues to refine that element of his game. Fun player to study. It reminds me of Stephon Diggs coming out of college. Number 36. It's one I still can't really continue to see. If Dart ends up being a first-round pick, I guess it wouldn't be that surprising at this point. I just don't really see it. He can create off script and execute on designed quarterback runs. Overall, Dart is still a work in progress, but he possesses starter traits, and his competitiveness will endear him to his teammates. Like, that's cool, but I feel like you're stretching it a bit to say he's got starter traits. For the people that like Jackson Dart, I'm really curious why. What in his game that you've seen at Ole Miss is something that's going to translate into the NFL, because the offense is completely different. I don't think the arm talent is anything spectacular. I feel like he's always late on throws, and that's in the Ole Miss offense. I don't know. It seems if you're going to say, okay, competitiveness, leader, I get why that would matter at quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But also accuracy, timing, anticipation, I don't really see that with Jackson Dart. So I feel like this is someone that you will really have to develop, and it might take some real time. I don't see him as an instant starter at all. And if I'm going to take a chance on a high upside quarterback, which I guess you're hoping Jackson Dart would be, I'll take the guy with more elite traits. And to me, that is Jalen Milroe. Now, Milroe's got a chance to be way worse because the floor is so low with Milroe. The floor is he plays a different position. He's such a great athlete. The floor is, okay, go play receiver, go play running back. But the ceiling is he's already got a very good deep ball. He can already run at an elite level. Obviously, a lot to clean up there with Milroe, but if I'm going to take a swing where I'll probably miss anyway, let me swing for a home run and not try to hit a double. Josh Simmons at 37, I like him a lot more than this. Main question with Simmons is health. What he put on tape this fall should generate plenty of optimism about his chances of becoming a quality starting left tackle in the NFL. Yeah, torn patellar tendon, came back and it looked really good at his pro day. Movement skills were great, and that was like 5 or 6 months removed. So I think that there's a chance he's going to be ready for week 1, and he might go to a situation where he's not even going to be forced to play right away anyway. So I feel like I would still take him in the first round. Quinshon Judkins at 38. Overall, Judkins has areas to improve, but he's a natural runner and he's built to carry a full load as a starter. I think he's really more of a short yardage type guy in the NFL. And where would I draft a guy like that? It's tough to say. I just don't really see the vision as much, but yeah, give him the ball and let him just run straight and power through for yardage. That's the type of player that Quinshon Judkins is. He's a good player. I prefer a guy like Caleb Johnson in terms of vision, foot quickness. I think he's just a more agile back as well with obvious size. Josh Connerly, we'll see where Caleb Johnson is. Josh Connerly at 39, another guy that I think will end up being a first-round pick. He is a really athletic offensive tackle, 6'4", 315. Overall, he's not an elite athlete, but he has the tools to develop into a starter in time. I think he's a really good athlete for the position. Maybe not to that elite level, but I think when you look at the movement skills, when you're saying like elite athlete at offensive tackle, yeah, he's maybe not to the level of a Will Campbell or an Armand Membu, but he's a really good athlete with the actual functional movement skills at tackle to, I think, stay at left tackle and be a quality starter. We'll see what team ends up drafting him. It wouldn't really be that shocking to see him jump up inside the top 20 or 25 picks, but here he is at 39. Carson Schwarzenegger at 40. Love him. The fact that he showed up at the combine at like 240 and still had a crazy vert, even though he didn't run or anything, I think is pretty encouraging. Super instinctive, really good cover player. I think he was playing at least listed at 225. So on tape, he showed like the modern hybrid linebacker, safety type of player that can cover and that can at least slip blocks and make plays that way. But if he's going to be playing at 240 and keeping some of that athleticism, I think this is somebody that can be a true like 3-down player in the NFL, or 4-down even if you want to say that. I think he's got the ability at that size to still be a player against the run, but obviously excel as a coverage player. Number 41 is Donovan Jackson, another guy I'm pretty high on. And this is the thing, because I see so many players in this range. I'm high on like all of these guys because you will be finding starters in this range, even if you're not finding the true top-end players in this draft. Donovan Jackson is someone that stepped in for Ohio State at left tackle and showed that he can play left tackle. I think Donovan Jackson can be an NFL tackle with NFL tackle size. He's got the arm length. This is not a guy that I think needs to stay at guard. Obviously played there his entire career at Ohio State prior to jumping in at left tackle, but he was so good there. Against Abdul Carter was like his first game at tackle. He had to go against Abdul Carter after the injury to Simmons. The fact that he was able to play as well as he did down the entire stretch through the college football playoff, I think is a huge reason why Ohio State was able to win a national championship in the first place. Jackson is a stud, in my opinion. Trey Amos at 42, obvious size, close to 6'1", really ran well at the combine, and that was a big concern about him, but alleviating some of those concerns, no question, could be a first-round pick. Landon Jackson, to me, think like Logan Hall. Why does a guy like that go top 35 or 40 in the draft? Well, they've got the size, got the length. They're potentially scheme versatile. You can see them in a number of different areas succeeding. Like, why does Peyton Turner go first round? It's the projectability, even if it's not there on tape. And to me, Jackson, I watch him play, and it kind of looks like a bull in a china shop type of deal, and sometimes that can be cool. overall, I don't really see a ton of coordination, and it's just tough at that size. He's like kind of like a gangly type of edge, even at 265 pounds. But we'll see if he can kind of work more of a pass rush repertoire in there and develop some counters to really win routinely against good offensive linemen. But powerful guy, can obviously set the edge. Benjamin Morrison down 4 to 44. Tape's good, at least in 2023 was really good. The injury questions are apparently like legitimate, and that I think will keep him solidly out of the first round. Where does a player like that go? Well, he was really good in 2023. Will he be a top 50 pick? I don't know that teams are so willing to take chances on guys with big injury designations. I think he's going to be off some teams' draft boards. That's going to hurt projection. Where does a guy like that go? He's got upside to be a quality starting corner, completely agree, but the health is a huge question mark. Nick Scorton at 45, up 4 from the last update. Very stout, strong as a run defender and plays with effort. Overall, he lacks elite traits, but he's very instinctive, productive, and tough. He dropped a lot of weight from what he was listed at, like 285 at A&M, down to the combine, where I think he was like 257 or something like that. So I don't know what his true playing weight's going to be. I really don't. He was really productive at Purdue. The Texas A&M defensive line was weird. A ton of talent not being utilized maybe to their best potential. Scorton could, I think, be a quality, like 4-3 edge, but we'll see what his playing weight ends up being. We'll see if the athleticism can show up. We'll see. It's a big question mark for me. Jaden Higgins up from not ranked to 46, and I love seeing love for Jonas Savaiinai as well. I've been high on him the entire process. Sneaky stop-start quickness after the catch, combination of body frame and athleticism reminds me of Nico Collins when he was coming out of Michigan in 2021. The thing with Jaden Higgins to me is he's got the size to suggest that like he can be an obvious X outside receiver. Every time I watch him catch the football, he's not really ever going out of his frame and really catching the ball with his hands. He's letting it get into his body. And yeah, you can have strong hands and be reliable and win these contested catches, but to me, he was really catching with his body a lot. And that's a little bit concerning to me. It makes me think of like a Chase Claypool type, and that's concerning. I'm not saying Jaden Higgins is not going to be good. I'm just saying these are things that I would like to see him improve, where he actually uses that size and uses those arms to go out and get the football as opposed to letting the football get him. In the NFL, I mean, Quentin Johnston has kind of had some similar problems to me, and I don't know if these are going to show up in the NFL or not, but it's something I saw that I at least thought was noteworthy. Jonas Savaiinai here from not ranked to 47, massive offensive lineman, has played right tackle, has played guard. I think he's got the size to play tackle. I'm not sure he's got the overall athleticism, but at least in space, I don't know. I think he's a good athlete, maybe not elite. And that's maybe if you don't trust him on an island, you move him inside to guard. Overall, Savaiinai is a starting caliber guard right now, and there will be more upside as he continues to develop. Darius Alexander at 48, excellent size, length, and athleticism. He's a bit older as a prospect, but yeah, 6-year senior, but I believe he'll be a day one impact player in all 3 downs. He's played off the edge, and he's been effective there. He's 310 pounds, and has some real juice off the edge for his size, but is obviously going to be an interior player that has some juice inside as well, and I think is good enough against the run, but offers some real upside as a pass rusher. Excited about that. JT Tuimoloau into the top 50. He was always going to be like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. He was never really going to be a first round player. It was just a name that you kind of gravitate towards because he's proven and solid. This is a solid guy as rotational edge, as a starter maybe. Like this is a good player. Just I don't think JT Tuimoloau is ever going to be an elite NFL player, but I think he is quite good. I think you can do a lot worse, but you can also do better. At number 50, Jalen Noel. Love to see Jalen Noel. A little bit smaller, but I don't know that he's just a slot. I think his skill set says that he can be a Z as well. He's very fast. He's got great hands. He's great after the catch. Just a really, really good player. Overall, Noel has traits to become a playmaking slot receiver as soon as he arrives in the NFL. Totally agree. Knoll, to me, is one of those names that I could see sneaking into the top 40, maybe even higher than that, if a team really likes his skill set, if there's a run on receivers early. Elijah Arroyo at 51, really high on him as a player, 6'5", 250. Showed some really good route running chops down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. Production wasn't insane at Miami, I don't believe, but overall, I think he's got the size. He's got the movement ability. I think his best football is ahead of him. And I think to a team like Denver, like a Joker-style tight end, it would be a really, really good fit. Jack Besh, really solid, bigger-bodied receiver that, again, had a good week down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. Obviously has unfortunately dealt with some tragedy, but really solid player. I think a solid rotational receiver. Caleb Johnson, I think, could be a bell cow, RB1 in the NFL. It's like 6'2"-ish, 225 pounds. Great vision, great patience. I love Caleb Johnson as a runner. I'm high on him. Noel Williams, really, really good player as well. He's got upside to be a starting corner in the NFL. And there are a lot of corners like this down the board that I think are quite good. He was one of the guys I got to way later in the process, but is somebody that I really, really liked. And I'm happy to see him near the top 50. Jared Wilson, highly athletic interior offensive lineman. There's a thought that maybe he could sneak into the first round, but I doubt it. He's undersized, but has great movement skills. You could say maybe one of the best, probably the best true center in this class. Above him, it's just guys that you project to move inside. Harold Fannin, I have questions about his route running ability. I know he's not going to be an inline tight end. He is a move style tight end, but is he athletic enough? Is he as good as Chig Okonkwo? I don't know. I kind of prefer Okonkwo. Fannin's production at Bowling Green is unbelievable, but when I watch him play, I don't necessarily see the unbelievable movement skills I expected to of somebody of his size, which is like 6'3"-ish, 6'4", maybe 230. So in the right offense, he can be effective. I'd like to see him honestly go to a team like Denver, where I think Sean Payton would be able to utilize his skill set. He's good after the catch, no question. He's a fun player. What is his true role in the NFL? That's the question to me. Kyle Williams, another player I like a lot. He's got some real juice. He's good after the catch. I find his route running to be pretty good. Kyle Williams, I think, is another guy that inside the top 50, I would not be mad about it. I really like him as a player. I think one of the better receivers in this class. Terrence Ferguson, you're doing a lot of projection. He's got good size, good athleticism. One of the more athletic tight ends in this class, but you just haven't fully seen it on tape yet. Kevin Winston Jr., some injury stuff with him, but overall one of the better safeties in this class. Kind of name has not really been brought up as much lately because I think he was just not playing as much. He was hurt. But it is someone that I think can be a starting safety in the NFL. Isaiah Thomas, he's got elite size at corner, doesn't have elite athleticism, but he's got really good length. I think in the right system, he can be highly effective. If you watch him, I think you start to worry less about the speed because he gets his hands on you and it's over. So in terms of a press corner, it's hard to find a lot better than Isaiah Thomas in this draft. Miles Frazier, upside as a starting guard in the NFL. I think you can say the same for Tate Ratledge. Watts is not as athletic, but is instinctive as a safety, and I think could, again, be a starter. Jordan Birch, super athletic, and has, I think, scheme versatility. It's interesting to see what his NFL weight's going to be. I think he was listed closer to 295 at Oregon, and then showed up, I think, sub 270 at the combine. I think he was close to 270. Might have been like 267, like in that Shamar Stewart range. But what is his role going to be? Is he going to be a true edge? Is he going to be that hybrid inside-outside type of player like a Darius Robinson? That's going to be one to watch, but really athletic and may go higher than you expect because he's got the measurables that you look for. Trey Harris, big-bodied receiver, didn't really run a complex route tree at all at Ole Miss. Could be some adjustment there to the NFL. Alfred Collins, big-bodied interior defensive lineman, once highly thought of as a recruit. Didn't really live up to the potential at Texas until this past season where he was really good, bulking up, playing the nose, and offers some pass rush upside. Tyleik Williams, maybe the best run defender in this class. Overall, it's just how do you value that? Because he's not going to offer a ton of pass rush. Dylan Sampson at Tennessee, obviously very productive. I think he's got overall good quickness. We'll see if he can end up being a starter. I kind of see more of like a running back by committee type of player. Olu Adejo from UCLA, very athletic 3-4 outside linebacker prospect. A lot of people like him. Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. Like, he's a mauler in the trenches. He's tough, big motor type of guy. What's his true upside? That's the question. Savone Rebel down here at 71. I think he'd be a first-round pick without the injury. Tore his ACL this season. A little bit of older prospect, but overall, like, incredible speed, incredible coverability. Maybe not the best tackler, right? But at corner, like, can you run with anybody? Can you stick to anybody? Can you play in phase as a corner? I think he checks so many boxes as a cover player. I'm less concerned about his ability as a tackler. The injury is concerning. Ozzy Trapilo, Boston College offensive tackle, big guy, I think close to 6'8", and moves pretty well at that size. I think he can be a starting tackle in the NFL if all goes right. Torrey Horton from Colorado State has definitely flashed in the past. 2024 was not an incredible year for him, and I wonder if you're not just going to see kind of like a one-trick pony in a way, because you get the ball in his hands, he can make some things happen. But, you know, we could say that about Malachi Corley, right? And he hasn't done much in the NFL so far. Jalen Reed, I think, yeah, the lesser of the two Penn State safeties, but still could be a solid player in the NFL. Tyler Shuck from Louisville has been all around. I mean, he was an Oregon guy that ended up transferring to Texas Tech, and then I think to Louisville. I might be even missing a stop in there. He's an older prospect, but has NFL size and a good arm. It's still like you're taking a big swing here, because overall there's a lot of miss in his game. You might get some hits, but there's a lot of miss with the hit and miss for Tyler Shuck. Andrew Makuba, undersized safety, but you wouldn't know it watching him play. Obviously, hook him, some Texas bias in here, but he's a great player. Kind of always in the right spot, good ball skills, nose for the football. Smaller safety, right? I don't even think he's 200 pounds, but as a nickel in the NFL, Makuba can make some plays, and we'll see if he ends up just playing a true safety role. Josh Farmer, very good size at defensive tackle, and plus athleticism is flashed as a pass rusher, and is definitely good against the run. This is a starter down the board, in my opinion. And Darian Porter, fun player here at Iowa State. He is an exceptional athlete with exceptional size, former wide receiver that at least can run really well in a straight line. Agility maybe not quite the same, which it makes sense for a guy that is as big as he is. I mean, he's so tall, 6'2", 6'3", maybe even. But very, very good overall athleticism, explosive as hell. Jacob Parrish is another good athlete. Savion Jones, I thought, was the worst of the two LSU edge rushers in this class. But I guess DJ's a little bit higher on him here at number 80. Marcus Bowe has played some tackle at Purdue, certainly. But is, I think, going to be a guard in the NFL. He's got really short arms. He's not the strongest guy, but he moves really well. Another good fit into a zone run scheme. Ty Felton's got some juice at receiver. Wasn't quite as high on him. Ariante Ursary is a really, really big tackle with some athleticism. Or maybe not really, really big. But he's got good overall size with some good athleticism. It's a nice combination of size and athleticism. He's not quite the size of Daniel Fa'alele, or not even close, but he's definitely big, and I think moves well at his size. This is someone who thought could have been a first-round pick going into the year. As we can say with Emory Jones, just the consistency was not there this year. He did not take the jump at right tackle at all, and it's a project. I think it's a project worth taking a chance on at some point down the board. He's got some real upside. Just going to need some coaching. I'd hate to see him go to Philadelphia. Will Howard at quarterback, Jalen Milroe back-to-back. Howard maybe higher floor, Milroe way higher ceiling. We talked about Milroe a little bit, like insanely high upside, but there's a chance he's just not playing quarterback. He's an insane athlete, but has a good deep ball. Please give him a chance to sit for a while before he gets going. I think he could be something. I don't think Will Howard's going to be much more than a spot starter in the NFL. I'd be surprised if he gets a run of like 2 or 3 years in a row as a starter. Although we saw Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that guy was able to be a starter for a number of different seasons. Braden Swinson, yeah, definitely higher on him compared to Savion Jones, but I don't know what the difference would be here for DJ with Savion Jones. I just wasn't quite as high on him. I think he's a fine player, obviously like plus size, 6'5", 280, but I just thought you saw a little bit more from Braden Swinson. He doesn't quite have that same size, obviously, but he offers a lot more athleticism overall, and I just find him to be a better player. Charles Grant, another insane athlete. Like, he from William & Mary, super small-time school. He can't play yet. He can't. But I think, like, you saw him, if you watched William & Mary, which I didn't get that many games because it was tough to find, but he just is way bigger and better than anybody he was going against. 6'5" with 35-inch arms. There is no one playing in whatever conference William & Mary is in that could handle him at all. It's kind of one of those things where you put your hand out and a little kid just runs into it. They can't touch you. That's Charles Grant playing at William & Mary. The overall length and size and athleticism is insane. He just needs a lot of development. There are some good players here down the board. Mac McWilliams is a really fun player, really good athlete. I mean, Shamar Turner is definitely good as well. Danny Stutzman is not good really in space or as a cover player, but tested really well and is great going downhill. He's going to be a good player against the run. Jalen Royals is definitely flashed. Justin Wally is an awesome player. Please watch Justin Wally if you can find him. He's undersized, but he's a good athlete with starting upside. I really like Justin Wally. It's a name that really hadn't been brought up very much. I was told to watch him, and I was really, really excited. He blew me away for the type of player he's been, or the type of corners in this class that we've been talking about. The fact that his name has not come up more is a tragedy because he's an awesome player, and I think you'd be really happy with him. Outside of the top 75 picks or so. Isaac Tesla, really good athlete, really good size at receiver. I would say, I'd maybe not think Alec Pierce, but I think he'd play a similar role in the NFL. 6'4", 214, ran in the low 4.4s, jumped like crazy. Athleticism was crazy. He could end up being a starting caliber player. Billy Bowman is like a cannonball, shot out of a cannon every play, great against the run. TJ Sanders, was highly thought of at one point. I think former 5-star. Tape's not even bad. It's interesting to see him barely inside the top 100 here. Same thing with Gunnar Helm. Man, I know he tested on a sprained ankle. That's tough, but the tape at Texas is good. He's a good blocker. He's a really good overall player. I think he's going to be a starter down the board. I think Cam Scadaboo is going to be a great running back by committee type of player. He is a really powerful back that just does not go down easy. Ty Robinson is, of course, an undersized defensive tackle that is not going to be a fit for every scheme and team. But as, a pass rusher on third down, I think he's going to definitely provide some value. Bass is a really good athlete. Smile Munden is maybe the linebacker I would take a shot on down the board with his overall athleticism and ability in coverage. He's a fun player. Jaden Blue, Hook'em Horns, another Longhorn I got to talk about, is an incredibly fast running back with great ability as a receiver out of the backfield. There is a value to that in the NFL. Demetrius Knight, really good athlete. These next two are kind of wild cards in my opinion because Princely Umanmielen has decent size to be a 3-4 outside linebacker and is mostly a really good athlete. Held his own against the run at times at least, and has shown juice as a pass rusher with some real character concerns. Josiah Stewart, when you watch him, is an awesome player. He's undersized. He did not test well at his pro day. He's not going to be a fit for every team. He's just not going to beat thresholds. He's 6'1", 250. Right? He's tiny off the edge. It's short arms, but when you watch him play, he is tough. He is a playmaker. Down the board, I want him on my team. Quincy Riley is a really nice player. Ashton Gelati. Wyatt Milam, I think, has starter potential down the board here. Quinn Ewers, of course. We're waiting to see him take that jump. Really just have not seen it yet. Bashal Tootin, extremely athletic, big play running back waiting to happen. Love him as a player. Alec Iomanner gave Travis Hunter the worst game of his career. Iomanner dominated Colorado in the second half almost completely into overtime 2 years ago. And I think has starter upside. Like, it's not a straight comp, but if you get like a Josh Reynolds type of player out of Alec Iomanner, you're not mad about that at all down the board. He's a decent player. Savion Williams is another, like, get him to the right team, and this guy can be a playmaker. He's 6'4", 222. You think, oh, big-bodied receiver, but not exactly. He's like a running back with the football in his hands. Find a way to get him the ball, and he's going to be a playmaker. I'm not going to say like Dwayne Harris, but this is a guy I want returning kicks for me. He's a playmaker. Upton Stout, I really like from what I saw. Chris Paul as well, like athletic linebacker down the board. I mean, a lot of athletic linebackers. Barrett Carter, Kane Madrano. These guys are going to end up being special teams players, maybe. DJ Giddens, I really like as well. He can block. He's athletic. He's got size. If you're looking for a Tyrone Tracy type of player down the board here, I think DJ Giddens has a chance to be an impact player way down the board. He's a fun player. DK here from Florida. He's good. I really wasn't expecting much when I watched him because you see the Florida games. It wasn't really like ever blown away by him, but he tested great. He's got good size. He definitely flashes. He's really athletic. I don't know. DK could be a really, really nice steal down the board as well. Another freak athlete in Teddy Buchanan. I like Kyle McCord down the board at quarterback. I do. I think he's got, if you're going to have, you know, the Ohio State quarterback all the way up there and the Syracuse QB all the way down here, I just don't see those guys that differently. Caleb Ransaw is a really good athlete. Could end up being a nickel. He's not the biggest. David Walker, again, another rugged edge defender, kind of like Jack Sawyer. Decent enough athlete. I wouldn't mind him all the way down here. And then you got some good backs. Ollie Gordon, Trevor Etienne. Etienne I was kind of surprised with when I turned on the tape. I wasn't expecting to be like, this is an NFL starter, but that's what I kind of saw. Saw some patience, saw some power, but also decisiveness as a runner. Etienne is not a bad back. CJ West is one of the better run defenders in this class. Jordan Phillips is not in the top 150, I'm going to be disappointed. There are a bunch of really good defensive linemen down the board. CJ West is one of the good run defenders in this class. I really, really like him. Lathan Ransom, good strong safety, athletic enough. Jonas Sanker is a really good athlete. Devin Neal is just one of many good running backs in this class. Rashard Smith is like a hybrid receiver running back. And then Yahya Black ends the top 150. No Jordan Phillips anywhere in here. He's a player I like. He might be closer to my top 100, right? So that is the top 150 for Daniel Jeremiah. Notable omissions other than Jordan Phillips that I can think of. I mean, he even got Dylan Gabriel inside the top 150. I don't know. I would say, we saw Caleb Johnson, right? Didn't miss him. I don't know. Jordan Phillips is the one that stands out to me. I'm sure there are going to be some in the comments you guys are going to remind me of. But overall, I do think the top players of the draft have been hit on here. Obviously in the top 150. I don't think there are any outstanding omissions. Again, I like Jordan Phillips quite a bit. And then there are some guys down the board, obviously, that I wouldn't expect to be in a top 150 that I still like. But this is the list. Again, maybe double upload today or final mock draft out tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy.